everybody. This video is about this controller. This is the Skycontroller 2 P as in Paul. This is version 1.0.3. If you notice, there's a difference between this Skycontroller 2 and the Skycontroller 2 version 1.0.4. Okay, let's get right into it. If you look on the back of the controller, on the bottom, right next to the battery compartment, you see this little label right here. It says Model Skycontroller 2P, and then down here it says use only original battery, 4.2 volts at 2.5 amps. Okay. Let's look at the battery. This is the battery inside your Skycontroller 2P. If you notice, it's tubular or cylindrical, however you want to call it. It looks like just like a regular round battery. But actually, it's a lithium-ion rechargeable battery, and it's rated at 3.6 volts at 2,500 microamp hours or milliamp hours. The maximum charge on the battery can be 4.2 volts. All right? That's what it looks like. If you notice, this is not just extra wrapping up here that they forgot to trim off when they did the battery. There's a purpose for that, and there's something underneath this right here. Okay? If you take and peel off that, what looks like extra packaging at the top of the battery, you'll see this. There's a circular circuit board. This right here, from this to there, is actually a small circuit board that sits on top of the actual battery. This right here is a battery strap. This particular one runs all the way down the outside of this battery to the negative end of the battery. Try to think of it like a dry cell battery. You got a negative end and a positive end. This strap goes down and it's spot welded to the bottom of the battery. On the opposite side, there's another strap that's spot welded to the top underneath this, on the top, to the positive of the battery. This is the positive side of the circuit board, the circular circuit board. This is the other side. If you notice, the metal strap goes under the circuit board, and if you lifted it up, that metal strap is spot welded to the positive end of this battery. Okay? There it is right there. It's not real clear, but trust me, it's there. This goes to the circuit board, that's the solder point, and this strap goes down to the battery. What I've done is I've pulled that little circular circuit board that's sitting on top of the battery, and this is what it looks like. This is where I cut the strap that goes to the negative part of the battery, or negative pole, and this is the strap I cut that goes to the top of the battery, which is the positive. Okay? Inside that circular thing, on the bottom side of where you see the solder points, this is the circuit board inside there. This battery isn't just a battery they put in there like you would in a flashlight and you use it. This has got a special circuit board on it, and this is what it looks like on the underneath side. Alright, if you'll excuse the carpet with the animal hair in it. Once again, this is the top of the circuit board that was attached to the battery. Again, this is the positive side. You can't see it really good, but it's labeled B+, and you can see where it's soldered. This strap is actually spot welded to the battery, okay? This is the positive part of the battery, and this is the negative. This is what the positive side of the battery looks like. This is nothing more than a lithium-ion rechargeable battery. And if you look close, there's the two spot welds where they spot welded the strap. Okay? On this side, you can see where I cut the negative strap off that comes up from the bottom of the battery. This is what the battery looks like when you pull Parrot's plastic label cover off of it. It's just a gray, ugly battery. And this is where this is a strap, metal strap that goes down to the bottom of the battery on the negative end that's spot welded right down here. You can see where I cut it off here. Here's another picture, just to show you what the strap. See where it's spot welded underneath here, and they just wrapped it around and brought it all the way up to the top and soldered it to that circuit board. This is the battery number on the battery once you get the black plastic labeling off of it from Parrot. This is the actual number of the battery of the supplier that they bought the battery from. It's just a simple, ugly old lithium-ion 3.6 volt rechargeable battery is all it is. Once again, this is the solder points on the top of that circuit board that's attached to the battery. This is negative that goes to the negative end of the battery, and this is a positive strap that goes to the top or the positive side of the 3.6 volt battery. Once again, notice there's 3 leads, and they are not connected directly to the positive and the negative of this battery. Those leads are connected on the opposite side of this. This is the bottom side of the circuit board. They're connected on the top side on the solder connections after they go through this circuit right here. Remember, they're not connected directly to the positive and negative of the battery. They go through this circuit right here before they go out to the controller. Here's the connecting leads. Alright, this sits on top of the battery, and all you see is the battery with a black, what looks like extra plastic on it, with these leads coming out. The leads are black, light blue, and red. This is what goes into the controller. This is what the circuit board looks like on the top. This is the area right here that the positive of the battery was soldered to, and this is the solder point where the negative of the battery was soldered to. The blue wire was soldered to this solder point, which is labeled T. The red wire was soldered to P plus. The black wire was soldered to P negative. This is your positive voltage going out to the controller. This is the negative power going out to the controller. I have no idea what this is. Some say it's a thermocouple lead, whatever that is. But anyway, this is what's sitting on top of your battery. So once again, you just can't, if your battery goes bad, you just can't run out and get a 3.6 lithium-ion battery and solder the wire directly to it to go to your controller, because they go through this circuit board first. Once again, just for reference, this is what your battery looks like. It's a 3.6 lithium-ion rechargeable battery, and maximum charge it'll hold is 4.2 volts. If you look up here, that looks like somebody just did a sloppy job of putting a battery wrapping on it. This is to help hold that circuit board that goes on top of the battery right here. And looks are deceiving. You see the wires coming out of it, and it's deceptive. You think, oh, well, red goes to the positive and the black goes to the negative, and you just hook it straight up. No, this has got a special circuit board on it right there. I just showed you. Okay, this is what your Skycontroller 2P looks like. Of course, you're probably saying, well, why are you showing it to me? I got one. I know what it looks like. Well, this is just letting you know what it looks like. Okay, if you notice, it's a brand new Skycontroller 2P. It's still got the shipping protective plastic on it. And what I've done just for you people, I've sacrificed my controller just so you could see what's inside it. That's right. I took my Skycontroller 2P, brand new, opened it up, and this is what it looks like. You take the top off of it, and this is the inside. This is your settings button. This is your return to home button. This over here is A button, B button. This is your takeoff and land button, and this is your power button. Underneath that is a little LED that turns. It'll either be red or green. That's the one that flashes or goes solid. This is the power connection to the controller board. Now, this does not come straight from the battery. I'll show you. This is your left flight controller stick. This is your right controller stick. Duh. Okay. This right here is your camera up and down. And this over here, I forgot what that is. I think that's, you're supposed to be able to turn that and it selects through the page of your app, you know, what you're looking at. Okay, what this is a Skycontroller with everything out of it. Control board and everything. I want to show you this picture next because so you can see where the batteries go. All right, if this thing will cooperate. This right here is the plug that goes to your 3.6 lithium-ion battery that powers the controller. Comes in through the bottom of it from the battery compartment. It's routed underneath the controller board. And if you notice, it goes up that hollow neck that leads to your actual antenna housing. The wire colors are red, blue, and black, just like the leads from your battery. Over here, you have what looks like pink and black. It's actually, I guess, supposed to be red and black, but it looks pink and black. This is the wire that actually connects to your control board. That supplies power to the control board. This ribbon cable also goes to the control board, and that's what takes the signals from the control board and sends it out through the dual antennas. I reconnected everything because to get it out of the case, you got to take all this off. But here you go. Here's your battery connection lead right here. It runs right here along here, and it goes directly to this circuit board on the back of the antennas. This is antenna 1, and this is antenna 2. This is your USB plug that you plug your smartphone into. Now, I'm not going to get into any great detail because, to tell you the truth, I don't like to tell you stuff that I don't know myself. I just know that all those cables go to this board on the back of the antenna housing. Once again, your red, blue, and black that comes from your battery. If you notice, it doesn't go directly to your controller board here. The controller board gets its power from this circuit board that comes back out on the pink and black leads and goes to the controller board. What voltage that is that's supplied to this controller board, I don't have the foggiest idea because I didn't hook it up and test it. Here's the ribbon cable from the antenna housing to the controller board right here. This right here at the bottom, that's your charge jack where you plug your wall power supply in to charge the battery, if that makes any sense. So in order to charge that battery, you plug in the power supply. It has to come out through the pink and black cable, go up to this board here, and then back out your red, black, and blue wires to the battery. If Parrot holds true to the way they hook things up, now this is just my theory, this board right here serves multiple purposes. You either have, well, you got to have some kind of regulator circuit on this board. You have to, because this goes directly back out to your battery plug, which when you're charging it comes from your actual controller board in through the power supply jack, out through the pink and black wires, up to this board on the back of the antenna housing, and then back out through your red, black, and blue wires. That blue wire that was labeled T on that little circuit board on top of your battery has to have something to do with the charging. Of course, you don't have to worry about being balanced because it's only a single cell, so you're not dealing with a balanced circuit here. It's probably just a sensor lead to tell when that battery's charged or not charged. Once again, this is a ribbon cable. It goes between the actual controller board to the antenna housing board. This is what supplies the signals of whatever button you push or what you're using on the controller. It sends out that signal to your antenna board, which is right here, that goes out through your antennas, which is antenna 1 and antenna 2. And if you notice, the antenna cables go underneath this board right here and connect to it. Okay, let's see what's on this antenna board. On the bottom side of the board I just showed you, where all the power cables go to, and the ribbon cable that transfers the signal from the actual control board to the antenna amplifier and receiver. This is the bottom of it, and it's got a bunch of that heat sink goop on it, that heat sink grease, whatever. One thing to notice here, these 4 contacts here, right here, when you put the screws back down and the bores back down there and secured, they connect to these contacts on the antenna board right here. This is your USB jack that goes to your cell phone. Once you get that heatsink grease off of it, you've got an RF shield. It's just a metal cap that goes over this, and what it is, it's an RF shield so you don't get radio waves flying all over. And this is like a foam, but it's like a heat sink coating as well. Underneath is the circuits. Here's your antenna cable connectors, J201 and J301. This is what the actual circuit board looks like once you get all the crap off of it. Down here is a solder connections for your leads from your battery. I don't remember which is which, but you've got your battery leads. You got red, black, blue, and then the other one's black and pink. This, I know these 2 pins is the ones that comes from your controller board, and these are the pins that goes to your battery cable right here. On this side, we have to assume that this is your antenna amplifiers, because there's your antenna cable jacks right here. Okay, back to the controller board. This is what it looks like without your your button connectors. They actually push and they make connection between this foil and this foil, and this is where your buttons connect. This is your settings. When you push that little neoprene cover on there, it makes contact between these two foils. That's your settings button. This is your return to home button. This is your takeoff and land button. This one is your B button, and this is the A button. Up here you have a dual set of foils, switch 204 and switch 205, but when you push it, it's one button on top of the controller that you see, and that's to turn your controller on and off. And the LED that provides the red or green light is right here. It's just LED right there. It's not really big. That's it. Okay, this is your left joystick. I forget which is which now, but one of these controls your up and down. That pot controls, one of them controls up and down, and the other one controls your left and right rotate. Over on this side, this is a right-hand joystick. One of these pots or adjustable resistors, potentiometer, whatever you want to call it. This controls your, either one of these controls the left turn or the right turn tilt on your controller. The other one controls the forward and backward on your controller. Up here, this is the connector that goes to your ribbon cable. This is what takes all the signals of whatever control that you're using and sends it out through that ribbon cable to the antenna housing. This up here is your power cable that comes from the battery. This goes to the antenna housing and board, and it goes from that board directly back to the battery. So this is where it connects. That's your pink and black wire. This over here, that is your controller for your camera, up or down. This over here is that selector wheel that clicks. And I think that has to do when you're in your settings, you go from one page to the next or whatever, or that's what that is. This is the underside of the controller board. This foil over here is your right trigger on your controller. This foil over here is your left trigger on your controller. This is the bottom side of your left joystick controller. This is the three connections to one of the pots, and this is three connections to the other pot on the controller. All right, on this side, you have the right joystick controller, and once again, these are the solder points for the controller pots. When you move the stick, it changes the resistance in it and goes out through these. All right, let's look at the antennas. Disappointing, isn't it? All your antennas are these cut out pieces of sheet metal is what it looks like. But anyway, here's what they are. They're nothing fancy. They're just flat, probably, I don't know, I'm guessing, 16 gauge metal. I don't know if they're stainless steel or not. But that's what it is. There are two plates of metal with, if you notice these cutouts, these are bent down to solder to this antenna housing. Actually, this metal looks like this cheap sheet metal I made my stand out of. But anyway, that's it, folks. That's your antennas. This is what they look like when you look down on them. This is the pieces of metal that was pushed down out of those holes, and there's three of them. 1, 2, 3, and the ends of them are soldered into the antenna board. And one looks exactly like the other one. Right here you can see it closer. Here's the pieces of metal right here where they're soldered to the board, right there and there, and then of course back here. Okay, this is a picture with the circuit board attached back on the back side of the antennas. This is the 3 points where the metal antennas are soldered to the board right here. And then it goes out through here to your antenna cable, which goes back to this board right here in this section right here of the circuit board. This one here is antenna 2. And this one here is antenna 1. Once again, you got the 3 points where the metal on the antenna plates is soldered. Well, you could fool me, but they look identical to me. But that's your 2 antennas. This is antenna 1. This is antenna 2. These are the antenna cables that go to the board. Here's the other one. And once again, here's your power cables. This right here is your USB jack, right here. This is what plugs into your smartphone USB cable. That's it. That's all there is to it. And of course it runs all the way up there. But this is on your antenna housing board. Alright, here's a better picture of it. All your USB connections go down this foil pattern and go to these contacts right here. And if you'll remember, I told you that these 4 pins right here, when you put it back down and put the screws on it, connect to these 4 pins right here. So this is how anything that goes through this USB jack comes also from this circuit board. The USB, when it's connected, it goes through the antenna housing board to those 4 contacts on it, to these 4 contacts. So your USB information is also on here. So I'm guessing that your Wi-Fi is also on this board right here. You got your antenna amplifier, I'm guessing, on this side, which takes all the information going out and coming in from the antennas, and then it goes to your Wi-Fi and whatever else this stupid board does to here. It has to, because your USB cable or your connection goes through these 4 contact points as well, which goes to this side of the amplifier board. It's a multi-purpose board. They also run your power cables to this board. So anyway, that's about all I can tell you. That concludes your grand tour of the Parrot Skycontroller 2P.